Hello there and welcome. In this video I got you 10 different tips for progressing through the main story of Ball X Pit. We're going to talk about various things which I hope will make your progression run easier, and yeah, let me know what you think. I have gone through the main story, so to speak, and I think that these things should help you out in getting there as well. So number one, get yourself the weapons first in whatever build you go for. In this game there's a lot of nice passive things that you can go for, but having all the weapon slots filled up is really important. Why do I mention that in the first place? Because you fuse and put things together quite a lot, and this results in open slots quite a lot. And all in all, you want to make sure that you have special attacks available, because these are the strongest, and after that you go for the passive items. Not the other way around, it would dilute your damage per second. So number two, how to find bad combos or how to avoid things that just don't work well together. Luckily in this game, almost everything works well together. Since you can combine any type of ball with the other, seriously, there's no limits. There are evolutions that work in a foretold way together. They form a new item, but after all, you can combine pretty much everything with whatever you want and get the results. What doesn't really work well together, in general, what I discovered is every type of ball that explodes and has a reload time of 3 seconds, in combination with any type of ball that likes to bounce around on the enemies and apply lots of stacks. These things usually really make a bad combination where the result is way worse than the original. But beyond that, the things that work well together is quite shocking. Just keep one thing in mind when you are combining and fusing things. The new ball will always inherit most likely all of the stats and traits of the origins, and that means sometimes there are things that just don't want to be combined or don't work that well together. Fun is in experimenting what works well together. That's why I'm going further to number 3, blueprints. So when you're just starting out, I really recommend farm the blueprints out of each level. They really do have a really high impact. A couple of them are rarer than others, and a few of them the last one, I had to progress a little bit further because I felt a little bit burned out in trying to farm them, so don't overstress it if you are missing only one. But it really pays off to try to get as many of these as possible before you progress through to the new level, because a lot of new game-changing features get introduced in each new set of blueprints, and get them as quick as possible. It just enhances the fun of the game, in my opinion. Now, which brings me directly to number 4. What is the most important thing to progress through is the buildings that increase the stats of your characters. There's one set of buildings that gives you flat stats. These are okay, but not nearly as important as the buildings that increase the scaling of your characters. You start off with a horrible scaling of E, and the buildings that increase that scaling will give you more base stats, and that is what carries you through the game quite hard. Obviously, leveling up the characters that you're playing also does that, but the buildings themselves, they really go strong and should be the ones that you really should focus around most. There's a couple of buildings that also bring in a lot of new, really strong features. A couple of them you're seeing here in action, but I felt like none of them was as strong as increasing the base scaling and the base stats of my characters. Apart from the duo thing, the matchmaker is also really powerful. Anyways, which brings me to number 5, new characters. Try to build their buildings as soon as you unlock them, not only because you're obviously quite curious what they might be, but also because they will help you out in getting new harvesting people into your city, and that means you're going to get more resources, and basically everything is better with more characters. So don't delay the building of these new homes for your characters. There's basically no reason not to do that, because there's really a big payoff out of that. So, number 6, resources. If you ask yourself if you should build more wheat fields, if you need more wood, if you need more stone, the answer is always yes. There is no resource that you could have enough of, because there are late game resource sinks and you can do so many things. There's so many buildings. Don't worry about ever having too much of anything. If you feel like building your city in that way that it cranks out a lot of resources, it's worth it. You don't really need to get through the story, though. I really didn't do much of a big job there. I pretty much did a lazy farming thing, and it was pretty okay. It's up to you. In that regard, Ball X Pit is pretty sandboxy, giving you very much the opportunity to optimize it to your own liking. But in general, really, the more resources you got, the faster you can build the buildings, the faster you can upgrade them, and this makes you really also stronger quite faster. That's just it. Alright, number 7. Keep upgrading your buildings. They have all many levels, and like I said before, the most important ones should be the ones that increase stats for your folks, and these, yeah, get them as soon as possible, as high as possible, and progressing through the levels will get easier and easier. You can, of course, upgrade the way you want to. It's just a thing that I noticed that nothing made such a big difference, like I said before. Therefore, getting the levels up for these also gets you places. It has the advantage that every new character that you unlock has a really strong foundation to start on, and you don't need to level them up. So there's that. Okay, so number 8. Don't try to grind out too much of the completionist tasks in the beginning of the game, and try to keep progressing through the levels. Once you are through with the angel level, you pretty much have 90% of the most important blueprints of the game. After that, you only get a couple of late game things, and this is where you can consider yourself sorta done with the basics of unlocking the things for your city. I'm personally somebody who really likes it when I know when I have hit like 90% of the unlocks, and yeah, if you have the all levels but one unlocked and get blueprints out of these, you're pretty much ready to design your late game builds for your city, and you won't be having to redesign too much. Okay, number 9. When you're going for what you want to do with each character, keep in mind that each character has unique traits, obviously, but also unique scalings. Attributes scale differently on each character, and following the highest attributes of these gives you an idea which kind of balls you want to use for these, because there's really a lot of different ways you can play this game, and I found that searching for the maximum synergy with your selected characters yields the best results. This is not always only in the passive abilities of theirs, obviously this is the most important thing to work around, but I also figured that sometimes those stats were quite interesting and made quite a difference in my strategies. I plan to do a deeper video on builds and such in the future, but so much about that here. And lastly, number 10, the question between what to fuse and what not to fuse. So I already went through good and bad combos in number 2, but here's another really interesting thing. We can fuse evolved balls with unevolved balls. We can also fuse evolved balls with evolved balls. This is the strongest combo. This basically compactifies 4 different fully evolutioned weapons into one, but you don't always need to do that. This is what I really want to talk about here. Sometimes it can be really massive to just fuse an evolved weapon into a unevolved weapon. One of my favorites, just to give you an impression what we're talking about, is to pick up a evolved condition spreader, something with magma or ice or whatever you want to pick up, and just combine that with a laser. Lasers apply the condition then to everything they pierce through. This is not really an advanced combo or anything, this is just the regular laser as it comes, but it is an amazing partner with evolved weapons. So this is just one of the things that you can do there. What I want to get down to is, it's not necessarily always the best combo to to fuse an evolved weapon with an evolved weapon. Some of the combos are really sick, and probably the strongest of them are evolved plus evolved, but there's intriguingly strong combos between the unevolved weaponry and evolved weaponry that really make a big difference and complement various builds. Just want to point that out in case you are wondering what you can do. When I was starting out with that game, all the possibilities really confused me quite a lot, but the longer I played this game, the more I enjoyed the options. So, there goes. I hope this helps you out on your conquest through the base game. I will do, like I said, another video like these for really strong builds. I hope this was helpful for you here. Leave me in the comment section whatever you feel like should be also in this video or is helpful for builds for the next video. I really like to hear back from you folks. Leave a like, leave a subscribe, consider donating via Ko-fi or any given means in the channel box description thingy down below. And many thanks for any support you guys give me. And of course, thanks for watching this video until the end. Appreciate your time and see you on the next one.